So if you're one of the lucky ones that was eligible to receive up to $20,000 in student loan forgiveness, be prepared because you might receive a tax bill. Hey, what's up everybody? Ralph here. So if you're not aware by now, this past week, President Joe Biden forgave up to $20,000 in student loans, fulfilling a promise that he made during his run for presidency. So if you're someone that has student debt, then obviously this puts a huge smile on your face. But if you're someone that paid off their student debt or didn't even go to college, then obviously this is something that you're not going to be too happy with. Regardless of which side you are on this argument, this is a huge deal. This is something that's never been done before. But the question that a lot of people are asking is, like, will they be taxed on this on the student loan debt that has been forgiven? And it's a great question because this is usually the case when any type of form of debt is forgiven. Especially in my case, when I had about $30,000 of credit card debt. And when I called the credit card company, I settled to pay half of it. So $15,000 I paid to the credit card company, and the other 15 was forgiven. So basically, I had to pay taxes on that 15,000 that was forgiven. So it's reasonable to ask that same question in regards to the student loan forgiveness. Will it be taxed? Well, I have good news and I have bad news. And before I go any further, just so you know, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a tax lawyer. So all this information I'm giving to you is just my opinion. It's not any financial advice. So if you have any question in regards to your tax liability, obviously you want to speak to a professional. I'm just basically giving information based on articles that I've read online. Now, to answer your question, the good news is federally, no, you won't be taxed. The bad news is, depending on the state that you live in, you will. So when it comes to federally, the reason why it won't be taxed federally is because I guess last year, 2021, I think Biden, they passed a plan called the American Rescue Plan, and this allowed for any student debt that's forgiven, it won't be taxed federally. So when it comes to federal taxes, you don't have to worry about that. But there are certain states that aren't exempt for this. There are states that do tax you based on if you got student loan debt forgiven. And I'll read this article real quick so you get an idea of which states those are. So when it comes to federally, you don't have to worry about the tax. But some states, depending on the state you are, you will have to worry about that. All right. So let's just get into this article that's on CNBC that breaks it down a little bit. So it says, all right, so President Joe Biden's student loan forgiveness plan will soon cancel debt for millions of Americans, and the relief is tax-free on federal returns. However, experts say the cancellation may still trigger a state tax bill. However, some states may count the canceled debt as income, explained Jared, Vice President of State Projects of the Tax Foundation. This may affect borrowers in more than a dozen states, adding a maximum state liability of roughly $300 to $1,100, according to Wozniak, based on the preliminary analysis. These states may include Arkansas, Hawaii, Idaho, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Mississippi, New York, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wisconsin, the analysis shows. All right, so the American Rescue Plan of 2021 made student loan forgiveness federally tax-free through 2025. So when it comes to federal taxes, basically from now to 2025, people don't have to worry about any taxes based on any student loan forgiveness. So, and the law covers Biden's forgiveness too, according to the White House. Generally speaking, states use the federal tax code as a baseline for how they define taxability, said Wozniak, explaining how some use what's known as conformity to follow certain federal legislation. Some states that have rolling conformity updated state tax legislation as federal laws change, and others may only conform from a certain date, which may require updates to match the current law. So again, federally, you don't have to worry about. Some states, according to the ones that I just ran off, there is a potential for you to pay tax on that. But my guess is what's going to happen is probably some of these states are probably not even going to do that. They're going to probably change the laws and allow for this to also be tax free, depending on the state. Obviously, if it's a Democrat, Republican state, that may be the case. But my guess is that some states are probably not even going to tax you on this, but obviously that's just my guess. But that is something that you may want to be worried about. So when it comes to federal, don't have to worry about. Some states, you have to. But another thing that you may have to worry about, even if this thing, let's say that this thing happens, like there is a potential that this is fought in court. Based on a lot of experts and articles out there, what Joe Biden did was kind of illegal. He doesn't technically have the authority to just cancel debt the way he did. Now, there's two circumstances in which he can do that. Obviously, is wartime or if there's an emergency. And based on, I think it's called the HEROES Act, I think it was 2003, where it allows the president to cancel debt based on an emergency. And the emergency that he's using obviously is the pandemic. But the question a lot of people are asking, like, why are you doing it now? Why not do it 6 months ago? Why not do it a year ago when the pandemic was at its height? But obviously, you have midterms coming up, so a lot of people thinking it's just him buying votes. Obviously, if you're someone that has student debt, you don't care as long as it gets canceled. But a lot of people are saying that what he did was technically illegal. He did not have the authority, and even Nancy Pelosi said it. I think last year, the president does not have the authority to just cancel debt. That authority goes to through Congress, and this never went through Congress. So he just did it outright. He just took the pen and was like, boom, we're going to cancel the debt. So what a lot of people think is because he never had authority to do it, they're going to challenge it in court, or that's the idea. That's what potentially could happen. Obviously, that's that's what a lot of people are talking about. We don't know who's going to bring it up to court. We don't know if it's going to be like, people that held the loan servicers. Are they going to bring it to the Supreme Court justice? But a lot of people are guessing that it's going to be brought to the Supreme Court or one of the lower courts, and it's going to be struck down. So that is something that you want to keep your mind, be aware of. This may not even go through. It may go through, it may not go through. Who knows? It depends on who decides to challenge it in court. And based on conversation, a lot of people think there's a high chance of it being struck down. But who knows? We never know what's going to happen. Not only that, but a lot of people are not sure how this process goes. People are not sure how we go about the process of getting their loans forgiven. Based on the articles that I've read, they said that I think in a couple of weeks there's going to be an application. So if you're someone that's that obviously that's eligible, you're going to have to fill out this application, and it should be available from what I read in a couple of weeks. I'm not sure, who knows, but once you get this application, once it's available, then you apply for this application, you fill it out, and then you send it in to whatever, and then a couple of weeks after that, then you should be able to get some response based on if you're eligible or not. My guess is this, man: anything done by the government is going to be messy. It's going to be unorganized, no structure. So expect it to be a lot of lack of understanding of people not sure what's going on. And there's articles that people are just like not sure what to do, how this process works, which is typical of the government because everything that they do is it tends to be a little unorganized. So I think a lot of people are figuring that out. And I'm gonna do an article. I'm gonna do a video based on new reports that came out about the people are not sure of what's going, how this thing's gonna work. But just know that there should be an application for you to fill out, and once you fill out the application, then there's probably like a few weeks before you get your, you should hear something about if you qualify or not. So again, to answer the question, when it comes to taxes, federally you should be fine, and depending on the states, you may receive a tax. But my guess is that some of these states are gonna just say, you know what, it's tax free, you don't have to worry about it. So that's, if you got any questions, that's all I got for you guys today. If you got any comments or questions, make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button, share, and please do not forget to subscribe. All right, so you guys take care and have a good one. Later.